Hey everyone, we are doing things a little differently than usual. As you can see, we're not in our usual location, and this time I'm actually on camera, where typically I try to hide behind the camera and just let you see my hands. So, for those that don't know, I am Jake Combs. I am the host of Table Talk, and we are currently on vacation in an island resort. So, loving it here, but figured we were so excited by our experience playing the Avatar: The Last Airbender, or Avatar, the role-playing game rather, that features Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, as well as prior eras and things like that. And so, we actually brought the game with us and went to play with it, but because we didn't bring any of our normal recording gear, not really going to be able to show you stuff on camera very well, especially since I have to basically hold the camera at all times, since I don't have my normal stand or anything like that. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and talk about the role-playing game itself, our overall review of the game as a whole, as well as the specific supplements that the folks at Magpie had sent over to us as well. So specifically, the game itself is a powered by the Apocalypse themed game. Now, this is only the second time I've ever heard of this genre of role-playing game, but basically it focuses on the overall story more than typical mechanics and traditional game development. And the only other game prior to this that I'd heard of that had done anything similar to that was the other Magpie title that we actually reviewed not too long ago. But I'm drawing a blank on the name because obviously we're in vacation mode and not thinking as clearly as we normally would for that kind of thing. So, and plus I don't have that book with us to further play on vacation anyway. But as far as the Avatar game, the focus of it, really you have to start with the session 0 when you go to play it. The first session really is the players planning the story they want to tell together. And so, like, basically your 4 players are various bender types, more often than not, and they basically are looking to tell a story within a certain era, either during Aang's time, the period leading up to that, doing somewhere else in the timeline earlier than that. I know that there's currently a Kickstarter going on right now. I believe it's nearing completion if it's not completed already, and I know it was very successful. That took place during a previous Avatar's reign, and then there, of course, being the Legend of Korra run, and Movers and Shakers was one of the books that they sent us for that specified that era, and then there was also another supplement as well that had a pre-built campaign for that era. Now, the smaller books, the ones that were not hardcover, those ones are pre-built campaigns, so that way you can kind of avoid the whole session 0 type setup and just kind of go straight into it just once your players develop their characters and then get going. Now, what's interesting about this is the gameplay itself is played very differently, where you're focusing on status effects more so than hit points, more so than other skills, because basically everyone kind of starts about the same level, and the focus is on the fighting, on the story, and really that's it. And the game itself, the way it's designed, is really meant for people that are big fans of the show, but if you've never seen the show, you can still play it and enjoy it, as long as you're fans of over the top, kind of cartoony style violence and things like that. Based on the mechanics and the world. Now, me personally, I loved the Legend of Korra era specifically. the whole time that period with using more technology to kind of allow the non-benders to kind of achieve the same level of abilities is definitely I think a lot more interesting, and especially when you have like villains like a Mon who's going around essentially stealing or eliminating the ability to bend from the benders at a permanent level. And then I think that it makes for much more dynamic villains, much more interesting benders as well, and you have more of a mixture of benders working together where prior eras the firebenders stayed with the firebenders, waterbenders stayed with waterbenders, earthbenders stayed with earthbenders, and for the most part airbenders were non-existent during Aang's time other than himself. So with that being the case, it made it really gave you a whole different dynamic and allowed for, in my opinion, much better storytelling. The overall experience, though, I mean, we loved the game. We had so much fun with it. The only real complaint I had is just that, playing the game traditionally, you do have to have that session 0 to plan everything out with the players. But that's pretty much it. But overall, despite the session 0 requirement for just generalized gameplay, having the focus be on the story is definitely my preferred way to play. So, it definitely sounds like the Powered by the Apocalypse play style or game types is going to be more up my alley personally. But if you like more, traditional gameplay, more traditional mechanics, then this may not be the game for you. But overall, though, like I said, we had a great time and absolutely loved it. We love the characters, love the world, and are looking forward to seeing what else Magpie does with the IP for sure.